First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
And hello, everyone. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now. As always, appreciate you all joining us. We are live streaming on our social media channels, on our apps, on our website. So lots of places to find this show. And of course, you can always watch it afterward on our YouTube channel or any of those other places as well. We get to cover a lot of different things here. But what I'm going to talk about right now is something that's happening this Friday at the Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall in downtown Portland. Taylor Tomlinson coming to town. Huge show. And right now, well, we're going to talk to Taylor Tomlinson. So we'll just make that nice and easy. Taylor, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you having some time here to talk to us today. Really excited that you're coming back to town. I mean, this is not your first time in Portland, I know, but you know, I wanted to talk to you just about how incredibly successful really your career seems to have been over these last few years, especially, you know, going from where you were all the way to now. But can you talk to us about like how it all started, when you first started comedy? Can we go all the way back to that?
Oh my gosh, what a big question. Okay.
I know, right?
I know, that was a lot.
It was a lot.
It's not my first time to Portland. It's funny you mentioned that. So I shot my first special in Portland at the Aladdin Theater, and the tape of the set that I got that helped me get the Netflix special in the first place, because you have to sort of audition as far as like sending in the hour to get it approved, was at the Helium Comedy Club in Portland. So Portland's been very, very good to me over the years. So I really appreciate Portland. I started doing stand-up in high school when I was an actual child. When I was like 16, I started doing stand-up in like churches mainly, which is not a cool rock and roll story. But here we
No,
go.
that's actually more rock and roll. The fact that you did it in a church.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
Look, it's a very limited list of subjects you can cover in church comedy, let me just say. But that's how I started doing it. I took like a class in high school and was a very clean comic for like the first like 5 or 6 years as a result of that.
I mean, that's good training though, to start off there, so you could turn that on if you need to. You know, if you're doing something on like national television, you gotta like tone it down or something.
Right. Oh, absolutely. For sure. I know how to shame myself into cleanliness.
I understand that role, how to do that. But that's still though, that's pretty amazing. At 16, you knew this is something that you wanted to do. And that's one thing, to try something out. I tried out a lot of different things at 16, but I didn't think like, oh, this is going to be a career. Like, how did you know, like, did it click right away that you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do with my life? Or did that take some time to figure that out?
No, I think it took some time to figure it out. I mean, I'm lucky that I grew up in a time when like podcasts were really big and you could go listen to like Marin's podcast or whatever and figure out how to do stand-up as a career, because without those resources, like without the internet, I don't know how I would have figured out how to be a comedian professionally, because it's such a weird road. Like, and now kids, anyone who's interested in doing stand-up, like there are so many resources for you to figure out ways to do that. And there's so many ways to make a living as a comedian. I mean, there are comedians who just do churches. There's comedians who just do cruise ships. There's comedians who just do corporate events. Like, there are a ton of different ways to make that happen. But yeah, when you're growing up like sheltered at 15, you know, you're like, I don't know, that seems so far away. Like,
right.
Jerry Seinfeld's a comedian. I have no idea how he did it. Do you have to get a show? Like, there's just no reference.
Right. There's no like guidebook that just says this is the path to become, Jerry Seinfeld or whoever else it may be. Here's how to be Eddie Murphy. Yeah. So you've gone though from that. You've done this path that you've gone down, which has been hugely successful now. You know, you've got your Netflix specials out. So what has it been like, say, over these last few years with just this? I would imagine, and I don't know for sure, that's what you're going to tell us, but I would imagine just the change in like even the venue sizes, going from say Helium Comedy Club to now the Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall, which is a big change in the size of a venue. So what's it like going to perform in places like that?
Oh, it's amazing. It's a dream come true. It's what I've always wanted. My goal was always to tour theaters, and the fact that I've been able to do it as early as I have in my career, I feel incredibly grateful for that. And again, is a testament to the internet and Netflix and streaming and all of that. Yeah, I think I did my first theater tour 3 years ago is when it started. No, maybe it was 2. It was 2 years ago. So it has been very fast. And obviously we had the pandemic in there. My first special came out a week before lockdown. So the first lockdown, to be specific, the original lockdown,
Yep.
a first of many. And so I didn't feel the effects of that special right away. It took, 6, 8, 10 months to get back to touring and realize like, oh, I actually sell tickets now. That's crazy.
Well, and I mean, clearly, with Netflix too, just exposing that to so many different people that maybe don't go out to comedy clubs or maybe hadn't seen you before. So once you started that, minus the 8-month delay because of COVID, what's the interaction with the audience like now that you have these fans who maybe didn't know you beforehand, but now they've watched all your specials, now they're on board. What's it like interacting with them?
Well, it's funny because not everybody's seen all the specials. I mean, a
Really?
lot of people are familiar with comedians because they just watch their reels or they just watch their TikToks or they vaguely remember you. They go, oh, that person pops up on my Facebook all the time. So, yeah, there's plenty of people who watch the specials and know me really well. But then there's also plenty of people who just see the clips I post online and maybe haven't seen a longer set. So it's an interesting combination. I think every comic has that as far as their audience goes, but it is so much better performing for people who came to see you on purpose. I mean, coming up, you're performing in comedy clubs that are like inside of malls and no one knows who you are. So it's really just foot traffic of people who are like, we spent the day at JCPenney and now we're hungry and this place has chicken fingers and I guess someone's going to do a skit. Like it's so much different to walk out to like thousands of people going, yeah, we consciously made this decision. We planned this weeks or months in advance. And yeah, it's definitely more pressure, but it is so much more fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine so. Rather than, I mean, chicken fingers are good and all, but yeah, performing for thousands of people that know who you are and are there to see you, I would imagine that's a little bit better.
Yeah.
So talking about it, going back to that, your material there at the church, I'm sure that's probably cycled out by now. But how have you changed, your material over the years? Because a lot of what you talk about seems pretty personal. You cover a lot of your life. How has that changed over this time?
Well, I've always been personal. I don't think that I've ever been super observational or political or anything. I think this is just the way I know how to write, and it's just the style of comedian I am personally. And I think, especially now, again, with the internet, it there being so much content out there and there being so many people making the same jokes about the things that are all happening. I think the more specific and personal you can be, the better, and the more likely that you will be saying something new that someone else hasn't said already.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Well, you're here doing the show here on October 6th, so that's coming up this week, for depending on when people are watching this. So we're going to talk about that, but I want to know, with the tour so far, how has it been, and then what happens after this? What's next on the horizon for Taylor Tomlinson?
I mean, is this not good enough? No, I'm kidding. I mean, I just want to keep doing stand-up. I just want to we're filming this special in November, so that'll come out after that. And then anything else that may or may not be happening, I can't really talk about. But
Sure.
I'm always going to do stand-up. That's never going to be something that I don't do because it has given me every other opportunity I've ever received. And it's my favorite thing to do. So that's what's next, is this will come out sometime next year.
I guess that's what I was trying to get to too, is just, so this will be the next special, this tour.
Yes.
Okay, nice. All right, so this weekend, in Portland, and as you mentioned, you've been here to Portland before. Is there anything that you like to do when you come to town?
I'm open to suggestions. If you have, obviously the food's really good in Portland. I love to do vintage shopping. My last special, the vintage jacket I wore, I found that in Portland. Portland's been incredibly good to me. Portland has given me so many things.
Yeah, well, then we can come up with some suggestions. So anybody watching this, if you have suggestions for Taylor on where to go eat, please drop those into the comments. Let her know. So we can go that way. All right, well, Taylor, I want to thank you, too, for spending some time to talk to us, just about your tour, just about everything that's going on. And I think something else that I would like to ask, too, for you, going back to when you were first starting, who were the comedians that you looked up to?
I mean, again, I grew up really religious, so we were listening to like Brian Regan and Jim Gaffigan, like really clean cut, Kathleen Madigan. And I've like worked with Brian Regan as an adult, which was like a dream come true. And he's like everything you want him to be. Like he's such a good person and a great comedian. And like it's been so cool as an adult to realize how small this world is and how once you get to a certain level, like you do kind of know everybody or meet everybody. But yeah, those were the comics that me and my family were listening to as a result of needing like clean entertainment, and also some of the best comics ever to do it. So
Right. Yeah. Was that strange meeting them like as a peer versus who you used to
yeah,
listen to?
I mean, I wouldn't say I was a peer. I'm very much not a peer. I am so much worse at comedy than those people. But yeah, it is funny.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Well, you're pretty good at it. So the Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall coming up. Have you been in there, by the way?
I can't remember,
Okay.
honestly. I don't think so. I think we did Revolution Hall last time.
Yeah, and you were at Aladdin, I think, at one point.
Yes.
So this, I mean, it's pretty amazing when you walk in there. I'm telling you, this is like the classic, like concert hall type of venue. I mean, it's pretty fancy. So it's a good venue. It's a good venue that you're gonna be at.
Blazer.
Yeah, it's pretty basic. So that's going to be October 6th. Everybody can go see you. And Taylor, you know, I want to say thank you again, you know, for joining us here to talk about the tour. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody go watch. Well, like you said, you're on everything. So people can go find you a lot of different places. Netflix, though, go watch those specials. And the new special is going to be, I guess, based off of this tour then.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, people can go out and see that now. And of course, the rest of the places that you're going to be on tour. Taylor, thank you very much for being here on Fox 12 Now.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. And for everybody who's joining in, appreciate you all being a part of this show too. Don't forget, we are live streaming in all those different places. We'll be back here in just a little bit with more because we cover a lot of different things here on Fox 12 Now throughout the day. So we've got some breaking news coming up at 1:30 p.m. we'll be talking about. So wherever you're watching, come right back there. I'll talk to you then. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.